Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector. Every Wednesday, Marc, along with his special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc is a tested, certified, and professional spiritual medium, metaphysical teacher, healer, and spiritual advisor with a spiritual practice based in Seattle, Washington. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
And you are the inspired and the inspiration. So let's be inspired, let's inspire others, and let's inspire before we expire. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. Welcome to Inspired Living, where every moment is an opportunity to ignite your passion and your curiosities and embrace the many mysteries, phenomenons, the unknown, the ordinary, and yes, the extraordinary. I am your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here with you yet again for what I like to call soul adventures and an inspiring episode to explore, discuss, and discover the many diamonds within each and every one of us and the many hidden gems that have yet to be revealed to us and the rest of the world. I'm thrilled to have you join us today as we embark on a journey of inspiration, motivation, and of course, transformation. Whether you're tuning in from the comfort of your home, find yourself on the road, or wherever life takes you, this show is designed to uplift your spirit and to empower your dreams. Inspired Living is all about fostering a supportive and empowering community. Each episode will highlight incredible guests like the one we have today, who have overcome challenges, pursued their passions, and make a positive impact in their respected fields and our amazing and beautiful world. The journey matters, and we want to celebrate your victories no matter how big or how small. Together, we can cultivate a mindset of possibility and unlock the doors to our dreams. Inspired listeners can expect engaging discussions, thought-provoking questions, and actionable steps to manifest inspiration into reality. And I'm saying manifest because we're going to be talking all about that today with our special guest, and we're going to take some steps how to manifest inspiration into your reality. So, of course, we always give our big shout-outs and say thank you to all of our inspired listeners from around the globe, the universe, and yes, beyond. My team here at Inspired Living, we're so very humbled and grateful to you for listening, downloading, leaving feedback, subscribing, leaving your awesome reviews, and voting to now make Inspired Living not only a best inspirational show, but also a best spiritual show to follow and listen to as referenced by FeedSpot. So we appreciate that. We appreciate that recognition, and we couldn't do this without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you've not yet subscribed or followed the show, there's always time to do so over on our main social media platforms at Facebook. You're just going to look for Inspired Living. I just changed the name, so we're taking out the podcast and the radio. We're just going to go with Inspired Living moving forward. So that's on our Facebook page. Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, formerly known as Twitter. You can follow the name Inspired for Us. That's the number 4, Inspired for Us. And of course, always on our YouTube channel, Inspired Living Radio. And we also stream through Audible, Alexa, and you can get this podcast wherever you get your favorite podcast from. So let's get ready to be inspired, uplifted, encouraged, and motivated, because the best is always yet to come. I always like to say, let's go prospecting together, shall we? And I want to just open up today's show a quote from the famous philosopher Lao Tzu, who always stressed simplicity and that inner alignment. And he said this, quote, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be," end quote. And our special guest today is coming in with just a beautiful background and brings just so much inspiration and so much knowledge. And of course, we're going to be talking with her new Video book. Yes, I said video book. And it's interesting because a lot of the population is actually moving away from reading books. And this might be the actual future of consciousness and humans actually doing video books called Manifestation Through the Power of Mysticism, which should catch your ear because there's going to be a lot of knowledge drop today with our first-time guest. She's a singer, songwriter, author, international speaker, and teacher, Miss Michele Blood. She is a successful, multi-talented lady, and we're going to be discussing her latest work and the world's first manifestation video book. And again, it's called Manifestation Through the Power of Mysticism. And just a little bit about Michele's journey and a little bit more about her. Like I said, she's a successful, multi-talented lady. She's a successful songwriter and a rock singer in Australia. And after a near-fatal car accidents while in the hospital with many serious injuries, she created a positive affirmation songs, which not only healed her body, but also took her to worldwide success. These affirmation songs affect the left and right hemisphere of the brain. Lyrics, the left hemisphere, the melody and the music, the right hemisphere. So the new positive messages go straight to our subconscious mind. And this is why millions of people worldwide have downloaded her affirmation power songs. These songs cover healing, success, money, joy, confidence, and they uplift the person immediately. In addition to creating magnet to success products and seminars worldwide, her public mystic success events have been held in over 26 countries. Michele has co-written and created over 80 books, music CDs, audio programs, TV shows, and videos on positive thought, mind transformation, and meditation. So she's been slacking a lot is what we're trying to say here. Michele has appeared in many hundreds of podcasts, including today on Inspired Living, radio and TV shows, and magazines globally. And after many years of meditation, Michele's Kundalini awakened and transformed her consciousness. I can relate. Michele now teaches others how to live successful life and experience divine oneness. Her mystical experience webinars and live streams have assisted people globally to transform their lives to the positive. And through her teachings and light transformations, people awaken and experience what they say is the impossible. They awaken to their true purpose and begin their path to enlightenment. She shared the stage and worked with Bob Proctor, Dr. Deepak Chopra, Dr. Dyer, Jack Canfield, and many other transformational authors and teachers. And her latest book is it's one of her newest books, but we're going to be talking about Manifestation Through the Power of Mysticism. But I'll welcome her on in a second, but I was actually reading her last book and found that to be very, very powerful as well. But again, her new app, Magnet to the Money app, will uplift millions worldwide. You can learn more about her on any of our write-ups that we've done. You can also go to micheleblood.com, or you can go to manifestationvideobook.com to get the first ever manifestation video. So with that, Michele, welcome to Inspired Living. Did I cover all the bases there for you? There's a lot to cover in your journey.
Yeah, I've been slacking. Hi, Marc. Lovely to be here today.
Yes, and thank you so much. And I was caught up on the Magic of Affirmation Power because that's the other book that I was perusing through. Not just your digital manifestation video book, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. I love going through, all of the different chapters, how you have it listed out in a video base. And I was just thinking, gosh, that must have taken a while to get this all pulled together and edited and rolled out. But thank you for being on the show. And let's talk first about, before we get into the details, tell me about Dr. Dyer, because I actually, when I started down the spiritual path years ago, he was actually one of the first people I started finding interest in. And to be able to, you shared a stage with him before his passing. So that, to me, that's like, 2 to 3 degrees of separation. What was that like to be with him and to work with him and to just receive that knowledge from, Dr. Dyer?
Well, I actually toured all around Australia with him and Deepak Chopra and Stuart Wilde all at the same time, the four of us.
Oh my
gosh. We did an event in each city of Australia. And yeah, he was a nice man. Yeah, very nice man.
Yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, I just got to ask you about what it was like to especially to tour around with those, three amazing gurus of knowledge and consciousness. But tell our listeners now a little bit about you, what you've done, and we're going to talk about your digital book here, your video book, and just give a little insight to, starting back when you were a rock singer and all of a sudden everything changed on a dime and a car accident put you on a completely new path, if you will.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing, Grace, how things happen. I was on television since the age of 5, singing, and eventually, after getting so many bands together, I eventually got a really great band. We worked together for years and years and years. We had a great record label, Time Warner. We toured at one stage non-stop for 7 years, literally non-stop. We worked with the Pretenders, Georgia Satellites, In Excess, you name it. We toured with a lot of big bands, and until eventually we did our own tours with our own backup, our support bands. And so my life was, after years of really working hard and getting the right band, the right road crew, started getting all our rock videos, and they're on television all the time, and you would never think that I would be happy in the long run about a near fatal car accident. But right. I could see after my transformation happened that everything that had led up to then was for me to be able to have that experience, to be able to handle. If you can handle 4,000 drunk Australians as a female singer, you can do anything.
That's true.
Singing to them.
Very true.
Seriously, they're a rough crowd. But and wonderful crowd. Don't get me wrong, Aussies. I love you. But yeah, but that's what happened. It was sort of like a mini truck, and the truck driver fell asleep. We'd been driving from Brisbane to Sydney. I just finished a gig at like 3 a.m. and it was my turn to drive with the truck driver, because each time we had a truck driver to be a different guy, and we didn't have internet back then, so you couldn't really do much Googling research.
Sure.
So one of us would always travel with the truck driver to make sure our equipment got to the gig. And yeah, he fell asleep at the wheel when we were just outside, when we're in Sydney at last, after about 14-hour drive, just outside the best hospital in Australia for bones, North Sydney Hospital. He car accident, truck accident happened right outside the hospital. So thank you, God, for that. And he'd fallen asleep, and all the musical equipment went into me. So I was in the hospital for many, many, many months, long operations, 17 hours, 9 hours, 12-hour operations. And I was in horrific pain, and fans and different people were sending me all this metaphysical stuff and positive thinking stuff, which I'd never been into because I didn't need that. I was already so strong with willpower and with doing anything to get the band right and writing the songs. But I had been, the weird thing is, I was obsessed with Jesus when I was a little kid. I was in a Catholic school in the countryside, and I would go to Mass every morning with the nuns. And I didn't know any other enlightened being except Jesus at the time. And so I fell in love. And my mother thought it was weird. She wasn't a Catholic. But the nuns wanted me to live with them because they wanted me to stay, when my parents moved from the countryside, they wanted me to stay with them for a year so that I could win all the School of Stedford singing. Because the nuns, that's all their life's about. Let's win from the other Catholic schools.
Right.
And my mother said, over my dead body, is she going to be living with nuns? She's already almost a nun, and she's only 9. Anyway, I'm just saying. But then I forgot about it. Puberty struck, and then, Jesus flew out the window. But I did start with a deep love for the divine. I'm just saying. So there was always that there within me. But that is what happened. Would you like me to continue?
No, I think that's. Do you feel like if the hospital wouldn't have been where it was, that you would have actually, if you were out off somewhere, on a highway 2 hours from the hospital, do you think you would have survived?
Oh, I would have definitely died. They told me I would have, even if it was a half an hour away.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. And I'm sure with your love for Jesus, I'm sure he's found his way back in from time to time. We call that the Christ consciousness, which, many people talk about. Mm-hmm. Myself included.
He's one of my dudes. What can I say?
Yeah, he's everybody's dude. He definitely embodies, when we talk about metaphysics and we talk about mysticism, we talk about consciousness, it's pretty powerful and life-changing. And I love that you were dedicated to your career, and it just shows you how powerful the mind can be. But when we have our bodies not, when our health is our wealth, as I always like saying, transformation usually incorporates the health aspect, the body, mind, and spirit. And at that point, you had to change because your body could no longer do, especially after all those surgeries and life-saving events. You had to pivot and go into a new focus versus, I'm sure you still, love the rock singing, but it just didn't fit you anymore because your body had changed and now your mind had to catch up to what your body was telling you. And that's not always easy because pain can also be a great teacher for the spiritual journey, for the consciousness of who we are. And I just want to remind our listeners, don't necessarily avoid the pain, because the struggle, the butterfly only becomes the butterfly and flies is because of the intense struggle within the cocoon. So don't forget that pain can teach all of us something on our spiritual journey. But for you, what do you feel like, how did you get to the affirmations? Because we're going to talk about music. You've always been involved with music, and music is fascinating. That could be a whole different discussion. But you started getting into affirmations, and you started to work with, was it vibrations and the affirmations of the vibrations and the song? Tell me a little bit about how that got incorporated, how that was introduced into your awareness.
Well, as I was saying, a lot of people were sending me this stuff that I'd never heard of. And one of them was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which my brother said, "Oh, you'll love this, you'll love it."
Yeah.
And he put it on, and I couldn't turn it off because I couldn't move. I was on a steel slated bed in traction. And but I loved the voice of oh my goodness, who spoke that audio book? It wasn't Napoleon Hill, even though it was his book. Earl Nightingale. And because I'm into sound, he's got this deep, beautiful baritone speaking voice, and so it soothes me. So that's the only reason I listen to it. But then all of a sudden, my ears perked up because he was reading about the chapter where Napoleon Hill went into his little son's room, who was born completely deaf, every night, and did these affirmations, which he called auto-suggestion. And I just, when you get a satori, you just feel it in the, in aha people, well, you feel it in the marrow of your bones. And I knew that what was being said was true because I could recalibrate my life. And I realized every positive thought I'd thought, I made happen. I took positive action, but I really always knew I could get that drummer I wanted from that band because it'll be better for my band, etc. And so I decided I would give it a go. So I did the affirmation, I am healed, I know I am, because that wasn't true. I love myself, I am my friend. As the healing light of the universe surrounds me and flows through me, I know that I am healed. Because he said you have to emotionalize it, you've got to say it in the now, but it didn't work for me, Marc. And you know why it didn't work, right?
Well, we all have our egos, we all have our learned behaviors, we all have our upbringings that can be barriers to accepting something new. I would imagine something along those lines of the lack of belief in this.
Well, because I kept doing it, and because I was in the hospital and in such physical agony, not just pain. I passed out every day, all day, so many times. Goodness. It was because I couldn't get it into my subconscious mind. I couldn't emotionalize it with doctors telling me this, that. Do you want a priest? And so I said, okay, that's okay. It doesn't work without emotionalizing it, and I can't emotionalize it right now. So I'll let that go for now. But then a week later, I had an epiphany. Marc, I had a huge epiphany. I have written jingles over the years I had for advertising agencies. The most money I ever made was doing jingles. And I'd use that for the band, for more equipment and stuff. But they spend billions a year on jingles because you can't get it out of your head. And I realized even with a song you don't like, Sharona, or whatever it is, you can't get it out of your head. So I asked my brother to go to record stores, because there wasn't internet back then, and get me some pop songs or rock songs with affirmations. there wasn't any such thing. And so I decided, okay, I'll write some. So I got him to put a blank tape on, and I just started singing. I am healed, I know I am. I love myself, I am my friend. And I sang it until the tape ran out. And I kept listening to it over and over again. And the bottom line is I had miraculous healing. Because I started having faith. I started seeing myself healed and what could happen. And I was so healed. I went into the studio as soon as possible and started writing with my friend John tons and tons of affirmation songs, but for my band, not to give to the public ever. Because I said, if this works for me to heal my body, imagine what success we can have if we change our minds. So I did it for that reason. But then the media found out, and all of a sudden I'm being interviewed, I'm on magazines and I'm on television, and I'm talking about this affirmation music. Then these people who brought out Bob Proctor and Wayne Dyer and all these people wanted me to come and sing the affirmations at the gigs because they thought that'll bring in a younger crowd. People know who she is. It'll bring in more people, and it'll be entertaining. And I'd never heard of anything like that, and I said no. But they paid me a lot of money, $5,000 a week, which was like for me a fortune back then. And they said you can sell your CDs at the back of the room. And I said, what CDs? Don't you have these affirmation songs recorded? I said, yeah, but not for the public. My goodness, they're not like they're already done on a 16-track. No. And they said, we'll do it anyway. And I ordered like 1,000 thinking, oh, wow, that's way too much, Little did I know, the first gig I did in Adelaide with these guys was 3,000 people on a Wednesday. They all paid $350 each. This was back in 1987. And my CD sold out by lunchtime. And I was absolutely gobsmacked. I was like, what is going on here? This is a whole different world. So that's how that happened. But I kept my band going. We kept becoming successful. It wasn't until I worked with Bob Proctor that I decided to change, because my heart was glowing and I was feeling different about the band and doing the same old thing. It felt like there was something more for my purpose. So that is when the shift really happened, was about a year later.
Yeah, and I just, I'm just empathizing. I can't imagine that there was so much pain in that journey that you were literally passing out. In the medical world, that means that you're in a lot of pain if you're literally passing out. And just to have, and I know this, I've not been where you have, but I've been in, scenarios where there's a lot of pain and people are trying to tell you, all these things, and you're just not, you're hearing it, but you're not hearing it. And it took you singing your own affirmations, through the power of, and Nikola Tesla talked about this all the time. You want to unlock the secrets of the universe, you start to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And you then started to accept, through the power of your own voice, to deal and to manage your own pain. And I think that's brilliant. And it's, it sounds like you were a spiritual hype girl to get the audience ready to receive the message through the power of affirmation, through the power of song, which I love. You can say that you were a hype girl for, Deepak and Dr. Wayne Dyer. How cool is that? But at the same time, there's that old adage about the egg, and it talks about if the egg is broken by an outside force, life ends. If it's broken by the inside force, life begins. So this is a great example for you, Michele, that great things always begin from the inside, not the outside. And we probably wouldn't be talking today if you had not gone through the accident, had gone through that severe pain to write these affirmations. You probably would still be touring with your rock, happy as a clam, but at the same time, you're changing people's lives through the power of voice, through song, through music, and through affirmations. And just well done and letting that pain teach you to be able to share with us today, especially my listening audience, because I've got that global audience that's totally into all of this. And I love that you finally made CDs and that you were selling out by lunchtime. How cool is that? So we're going to have our first break coming up, and I could talk to you forever. But just tell us, how can someone, they're hearing us, right? They're hearing us in this interview and they're like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but how can we apply that? How can we take that pain that we all feel, whether it's emotional, physical, mental, and actually manifest it and put that into action for a better life, for a healthier life, for, again, the mind, body, spirit, because there's a lot of pain out in the world today, and there always is and always will be. But how can you, that somebody that's done this, again, especially passing out from such severe pain, my goodness, what would you recommend to people as the first starting point of this journey?
Well, listening, I'm going to give away a lot of stuff today for free to your lovely listeners.
Well, they'll love that.
Listening to the music, because I've got like over 400 songs covering even Deepak Chopra got me to do one for kids, which I did for little kids, self-esteem for kids. So there's all these beautiful songs that you can't get out of your head, and you don't have to emotionalize the positive thought. So if you're feeling down, the last thing you want is someone walking into the room who's farting daisies. They're so happy. You don't feel good if someone's really happy when you're down. It doesn't work. So you're going to reject the affirmation, but with the songs, you can't reject them. It's a whole brain experience. It goes straight into your subconscious mind, and it does change your frequency to not positive straight away, but at least, I think I can do something better with my life. So at least it's a beginning. But there are many, many other things that they can do, but at least that's a fun, easy way of doing it, which you don't have to put any effort into.
Okay, so we're going to stop there. That's a great starting point. When we come back from our break, we're going to pick this back up and get into more actionable steps with our special guest today, Michele Blood, talking about manifestation through the power of mysticism, affirmations, spiritual awesomeness. Stick around. You're not going to want to miss the second part of the episode. This is Inspired Living.
The future of internet radio is here. Om Times Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
One planet, 7.3 billion people. Only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
You came across someone struggling with hunger. How would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break
because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time landing a job
and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
And welcome back, inspired listeners. The 13th century Sufi mystic Rumi reminds us, quote, "The universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are." End quote. And today we have our special guest with us. Today, joining us for the first time, Michele Blood. She's a successful, multi-talented lady who is a singer, songwriter, author, international speaker, teacher, and yes, I'm going to throw in there, Michele, a hype girl to get the audience hyped up and ready to receive the messages that the gurus you're traveling with and travel with are sharing with the audience. But today we're talking about manifestation through the power of mysticism and, of course, affirmations. And Michele, I want to get right back into this because there's just so much knowledge and information here. Trying to, get this all within, 60 minutes is so tough. But I want to talk about the brain real quick because you talked about, you recorded these affirmations and they became, you were able to use your platform as a rock singer to distribute out these affirmations and CDs and really start helping people. But how did you come to know about the brain as far as the left hemisphere versus the right hemisphere? Because you talk about the lyrics, which is the analytical side of the brain, the memory, the logic, the ego. That's where the all of that lies in the left hemisphere. But then you talked about the melody and the music is the right hemisphere. Tell the listening audience a little bit about that and the makeup of the brain and how it responds to both music, vibrations, affirmations, words, etc.
Hello?
Yeah, Michele, are you there?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My cheek hung up the phone.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Okay, no worries. It happens. What were you able to hear? Anything?
No.
Okay, so we'll just go right back to it. I was talking about how you started recording these affirmations, and how did you receive the knowledge about how the brain is made up, as far as how the lyrics impact the left hemisphere, the melody and music impacts the right hemisphere. Where did you start to learn that through your journey?
Oh, well, listening to Napoleon Hill, he speaks about the brain and how that works and how you've got to emotionalize it. And so then I started getting as many books on metaphysics or the mind and affirmations as I could. And then I started studying the brain, literally, how that works. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I worked with Bob Proctor a year later, he didn't want me to work with him. Do you want to hear a funny story?
Yes, please.
Are we back on the air?
We are. We're live.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Anyway, he had these promoters who approached me and they said, we want you to tour with Bob Proctor. And I said, who's that? And they said, well, he's this guy from Canada and he's got this success system and videos and everything. And we want you to sing at his events. And they offered me good money and everything, and they wanted me to tour Australia with him. And so the first night I was there was at the Sydney, Four Seasons now, but it used to be called something different, the Regent back in the day. And it was an evening event. And after, the middle break in the green room, he came up to me and he said, hello, Michele, nice to meet you, because I hadn't even met him before I got on the stage and started singing. And he said, I did not want you to sing at my events. I never have singers. I don't need entertainers. I'm Bob Proctor. Real serious face. And I'm like, he seemed lighter on stage.
So why so serious?
Yeah, and I said, well, good to meet you too, mate. Welcome to Australia. And then he started laughing his ass off, and he said, I'm just joking. He said, I've never seen an audience so vibrant. He said, you've got the lyrics up there, and you've got all these people on stage doing rock and roll with you. He said, it's incredible. I want you to tour with me all over the world. And his wife said, Linda, she said, yeah, you've got to. This is just made, you've got no idea, this has made Bob's day. This is something he's never seen. And he said, do you realize what you're doing? It's going straight into the subconscious mind. People, I can't even get the songs out of my head, and I've only heard them once. And I said, yeah, I do know that. Anyway, so I ended up working with him for about 7 years straight. I had to give my band 6 months' notice because it wouldn't be fair to them, because their wives would have killed me. They would have broken my neck if I didn't give them some notice so they could make some money and see what else they could do with music with themselves. Anyway, Yeah, so that's how I ended up working with Bob Proctor. I ended up living in Malaysia. I ended up running his business from
goodness.
Malaysia worldwide. I got his book, You Were Born Rich, to be a bestseller. This is years before The Secret, because back then, when I finally got my products on the internet, this lady called Rhonda Byrne kept calling and ordering, because they ordered them from Australia, because I still lived there part-time. She would order, and because we didn't have shopping carts, she would send checks to my post office box in Australia. She ordered all my products and all Bob's products years before The Secret. So, so that was interesting. Bob and I thought that was interesting that she didn't ask me to go on. And Bob said, why don't you have Michele on The Secret? And she said, well, she's short, she's blonde and Australian. So, hello?
Oh, my goodness.
And
what a fantastic story.
I know. I've actually been to events where they say, are you Rhonda Byrne? I'm like, no.
No.
I love Rhonda. She's awesome. Don't get me wrong. It was just a funny story. I've got so many anecdotes.
Oh, I can imagine. And again, thank you because we've done, past episodes talking about the brain, from everything from neuroplasticity, consciousness, the subconsciousness, Einstein, I'm paraphrasing here, but Einstein always referred to the brain, which on average weighs about 3.5 pounds per human being, but he said it was one of the most complex organisms in our universe, because we're capable of so much within our brain, not from the outside world, but from the inside world, of what we want to, whether it's overcoming pain, trying to manifest our heart's desire. And you were able to take these jingles that you talk about, which are so very, it's funny how I don't remember a song, but then the song comes on and I can remember the lyrics. Exactly. I don't know what that phenomenon is called, but there was a song I hadn't heard in probably 30 years, and it came on and I knew the lyrics. And I'm like, how can I remember the lyrics from 30 years ago of a song I've barely heard over the last 30 years, but I can't remember what I did yesterday, right? So it just shows you the power of the subconscious mind. And when you get these jingles, like you said, in the advertising world, they know what they're doing. They're very keen on getting the right tones, the right message, the right words. There's everything from McDonald's to Nike. They have very powerful mantras or affirmations, if you will, that stick with people and then get them to buy their products. So now for you're applying now the manifestation, because let's talk about manifestations. Let's pivot a little bit and I love the affirmations, and I think we should spend another episode just talking about affirmations. But let's talk about the power of manifestation, because that's very important. And for the listening audience, we already took one of the actionable steps. But tell me about this video book that you put together called Manifestation Through the Power of Mysticism.
Thank you, Marc. You're too sweet. Anyway, no, I feel.
I tried.
I feel the Kundalini energy when someone's got it going on. And anyway, and it's like a brother then. Anyway, or a sister.
brother from another mother. How's that? Sister from another mister.
Yeah. All these years since my car accident, I went through. I said to Bob Proctor once, I've got this heart glow, and I've always had it, but I don't know what it is. And he said, well, your heart chakra's probably activated a little bit. I said, it's been like that my entire life. And he said, well, you're probably born like that, or you're on an enlightenment path when you were younger. And I said, enlightenment path? And I said, oh, you mean like Yogananda talks about? Because I've been getting into so many books by then, Marc. And he said, yeah. Right. And he said, you need an enlightened teacher. I think you're soul sick. So I looked in probably 14 years all over the world. Anytime someone said, oh, there's an enlightened teacher here, enlightened. And eventually I found one in America, and I went off the grid for 14 years. Took all my websites down, everything, and just studied with her all over the world until I became awakened. And now I do it and she doesn't. But it's very, very hard, very, very hard. But one of the things that I realized that I had been teaching was visualization and all these different things. And I'd always done my books, I'd written, I always put them into audio books because I always loved audio books from my experience in the hospital, not being able to read because I couldn't lift my head. And so this particular book I just finished writing, Manifestation Through the Power of Mysticism, and I added every topic I could think of that I went through to assist people to know what's really going on when they're doing everything they can and they're still not manifesting what they want. Their faith wanes, and they know that they're just a breath hair away from getting it, and they don't understand what's underlying what I call their diamond. Their diamond is their higher self, and it's clogged and blocked, as you know, with all life experiences. So you can't feel your God self. You can't feel it because it's clogged, and your oscillation, your frequency has to go faster for that to become cleared. And there's many, many ways of doing that. But I just decided when I was working with my friend Holly, who works with me on all my apps, that if we made this into a video book, because we worked on it, like you said, for 2 years to make sure every chapter there was visuals that were fun and joyful and uplifting that went with the message. So it would go straight into the subconscious mind. They're listening to my voice at the same time. And then at the end of each chapter, there's a rock video. There's a music video with the affirmation music. And so I spoke to Jack Canfield and a couple of other people, and they said, oh, we're going to plagiarize this. We've got to do that from now on. It's got to be video books all the way. Oh, my God. Because your doubting mind does not have a moment, because people are so used to watching visual. They could do that for hours, and they don't even want to listen to audiobooks anymore. They get so, they don't have their attention anymore. People don't have attention. And so they watch it and they can't stop watching it. And so that's why we did that. And I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful, fun experience for them to be able to get those thoughts and those images into their head without them having to think, do I like that? Don't I like it? Plus they're learning about affirmations and meditation and enlightenment and, all those different topics that I talk about in the book.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing. I love that you use the word diamond, because that's actually, as the Intuitive Prospector, I teach a lot about finding the diamond within, because diamonds are only created under severe stress, pressure, and usually remains in the dark until it's actually revealed at its own time. And so I love that you brought up that philosophy of the diamond, because we all have a diamond within. It's just up to us through free will and choice how we want to prospect to reveal or find that diamond. Some people, in our journey may not ever find that diamond. That's okay. And for the inspired listeners, I just want to remind you of enlightenment, that even after enlightenment, I'm sure Michele would agree with this, you still have to tend the garden. You still have to clean the toilet. There are things that you still have to do in life, even after reaching that enlightenment. But Buddha always talked about, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. And you've taken your thoughts and work through your pain to bring these, not just the affirmations, but now the video of manifestation. And I think I agree with you, because we're actually, after almost 10 years of being on the air for Inspired Living, we're actually shifting shortly here to the video base, the visual aspect. And of course the audio will still play out to the podcasting platforms that we're on. But yeah, so I was talking with my producer Chris, and I told him I actually have to put my makeup on. I have to comb my hair. Moving forward, what does that all mean? But it is a direct correlation that people do want the visual. People, like I said, I just read a study that almost 40% of the population is no longer reading books. And to me, that's sad, but it also shows evolution and consciousness in our technology. And I love how it was set up. I've got the book right here in front of me for the listeners out there. It starts with the dedication. It's a video of Michele, goes into the introduction. Chapter 1 is manifesting through the power of love, which is the bridge of everything that I have found in doing this. It's through the power of love. Through meditation, you can become prosperous. Chapter 3, are you a mystic? Chapter 4, the power of intuition. Chapter 5, the power of meditation. Chapter 6, how to become enlightened. And these are all broken down with video of Michele and you at your events, having one hell of a time, getting people hyped up, getting people ready to receive the messages, both in their conscious, but also through their subconscious. So you said you had some free stuff. The listeners love free stuff. So I'm going to give you a chance to just share that with the listening audience today on what you're offering and how people can come check you out, come to your site, get this manifestation video book. I loved it, and thank you for sharing it with me and the team. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Marc. Thank you very much. Very generous person doing that. And what you're doing, I just want to say, is absolutely wonderful. Bringing this to people is great, but I totally concur. Dr. Kildare.
Make it a video. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So you go to www. I know I always say that, but that's what it is. Michele Blood is spelled M. I know it sounds weird, doesn't it? MICHELE, not two L's, BLOOD. It's Irish. It's my daddy's name. Don't think it's a punk rock name. MichelleBlood.com // Can you believe I just said / inspired living. They're going to get the Magic of Affirmation Power audiobook. They're going to get the first 3 chapters of my new book, Stop Thought, which is over 25 years of teaching, which has been put into a new book that I've just launched called Stop Thought. And they're also going to get my Songs for Success album and a couple of other things that Trevor has thrown in. So you get a lot of stuff there for free.
All right, listeners, go get your free swag. We're offering it here. So, and thank you, Michele. And again, it's Michele with 1 L. That's important to point out. It's MichelleBlood.com, also manifestationvideobook.com, and then of course the Inspired Living / And it's funny because you said www. We're older, we're wiser. We grew up. We can both say that we're BC, before computers. AOL, dial-up, www, the World Wide Web, and now today's generation, they're like, what are those people even talking about? So it just means that we've lived through it, and we're BC, and we're now after BC. I don't know what that would be after computers. AC, I guess, after computers. But there's so much that's just happening and going on with the technology, and I think people, like I said, I loved that you put together. It's funny because the first thing I thought was, my gosh, how long did it take her to put this manifestation video book together? Because there's 13 chapters, and then of course you have the audio book, the ebook, and positive affirmation song and lyric booklet at the end. But even with 13 chapters, did I hear you right? It took you 2 years to actually pull this all together, edit it, publish it, and get it to where I'm seeing the finished product before me right now.
Yeah.
Did I hear that right? 2 years?
That's right.
Well,
Holly
good
and I
for you.
worked on it, and Trevor, he worked on some of it as well. Yeah, because the images I was very, very fussy about. So we had to buy all the images that I liked. That I felt really were in synergy. And of course, the music videos at the end. To make sure that, and we did so much funny stuff, like dogs on the beach with sunglasses on, and just little things to uplift in between to make it funny as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually a surprise, because when I was going through the chapters, and I'm like, oh, we get a little sugar, a little cherry on top afterwards. So that was a lot of fun. I didn't realize that was going to be throughout the chapters. But again, for the listening audience, you can get all of Michele's information on our write-ups through our social media pages, Om Times Radio, YouTube, wherever we're streaming, you can get all of this information to go visit Michele Blood's website and the www in there, if that makes you feel better, just so you can actually see what I'm seeing on my end, because it is visually stimulating, it's visually exciting, and I love that. And so again, thank you for generously sharing your past 2 years of hard work, because I just looked at it, I said, this has got to be some time to put in this type of, like you said, the little things, what you put in the video that you promote out, you got to buy the stock, you got to buy the the stock video, so for trademark and copy. Little think about, like, I've come to learn along my pathway of doing this. So thank you for that. As far as just for you, you talked about the Kundalini awakening, and for the listening audience, most of the fan base knows what that is, but there might be some new listeners that don't understand the journey of affirmation to full Kundalini awakening. What do you mean by that?
Well, all my years with my teacher, and her name is actually Kundalini, all those years of looking for an enlightened teacher. But anyway, it was just absolutely amazing to me. This small woman, who's 10 years younger than me, had this light coming through her. I could feel my eyes tearing up and tingles through my head, because she's one with the light, because she's completely free. And so she's a perfect conduit of the light. Anyway, and she was reverent and funny, and I was just so blessed to meet her. But anyway, after many years of long meditations, and really, really challenging, but it was worth it, because I was lucky to be a bhakti, in love with God already. And so my heart glow was already there. So I would have Kundalini rushes occasionally, where I'd feel it up my sushumna, up the spine, and then I'd have a flash, a lightning flash, and that's when all thought has stopped, as you know, when you get that flash. And that flash, of course, is the beginning of the Stargate. Then I started having Stargate experiences, literally leaving my body, and you know what that's like, rushing through and going into these different dimensions until a couple of months after that, because once I had my first flash, because we have all this Kundalini at the bottom of our spine, everybody. It's God's life force. It's vibrating life force of little bubbles of, and it has to come up the Sushumna, which is an ethereal spine along the spine, to activate the chakras. It has to scrub everything clean to activate it, because that's all blocked. And that's why you can't feel your intuition. Should I turn left? Should I turn right? You're blocked. That's why. Very simple, but not so easy to release. But one of the easiest things, and until one day, of course, everything exploded into light and I was gone. I was just hysterical. Hysterical. I was like, all that. And once you're free, you're like, oh my God, we are what we think. Everything we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. And the Buddha was saying, so stop your thoughts, because they're making too many worlds in your head.
Very true. Very true.
But anyway,
thank you for...
that's a very short version of something that I keep it simple when I teach it, but it's more complicated than that, as you know.
Yeah. Well, I think just planting those seeds of simplicity are important for especially our new listeners out there, and a big shout out to our new listeners. Because that's important, because then you can start to prospect for the diamond within, and the subjects that we're talking about here on Inspired Living, that's what plant seeds to get people going down that path. What is Kundalini? What is awakening? What is that vibration that Michele was just talking, that flash that you talk about, right? That flash in the third eye, also known as a pineal gland. Ancient philosophy is nothing new that we're just bringing into your awareness. And awareness is the greatest agent for change. So that's why I wanted to bring that up for the inspired listeners. And I kind of pivot just real quick. Who did you say hung up the phone on you? You said the name, but I didn't catch it.
My cheek. My face.
Your face hung up the phone. I thought it might have been a dog or a cat, and so I did hear you right. You did say your cheek. I was going to give a shout out to whoever hung up the phone, so we're going to go cheek. So thank you, Michelle's cheek. You gotta have fun with it, right? No worries, it happens. But I just really appreciate you being on.
I don't like it on speakerphone. I think you can hear it better when you've got the phone right to your face.
Well, when you come back for another episode, we'll be on video based, so that'll be a little bit more enjoyable. But just with the time that we have left, Michele, any last thoughts that you want to share with the listening audience? I know that there's people that are living those busy modern lives, trying to incorporate the mystical spiritual practice, and that can be a little overwhelming. But our world is very overwhelming as we speak. Any last thoughts or advice or diamonds or philosophy that you'd love to share? Because I love that you took the time to disconnect for 14 years in order to reconnect. And I think that's a big part of your journey. And that's important for all of us to go off grid and connect with your tutor, your mentor. So I'm just going to leave the last few minutes to you just to share some philosophy and wisdom of your journey with our listening audience.
Well, I'm going to give you guys some practical information that you're going to say, that's not spiritual, Michele. What are you talking about? I want something deeper than that. But trust me when I say, declutter your home. Make your home as zen as possible. What you see is created in your mind. If your home, where you live, if you've got dishes in the sink, if you don't, your bed's not made, if your wardrobe is full of old clothes and stuff you don't need anymore, your consciousness is going to stay in that old paradigm, because it has to see fresh things, new things. Paint the walls, get new pillows. Declutter your home. You know those drawers, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. You know those drawers. You know the boot of your car, absolute mess, the trunk in America. You just clean out that stuff. And you can hire declutterers now. These people do an amazing job. And when you're a little bit of a hoarder, they will actually say to you, you don't want this anymore. It's being thrown out. They'll be really strict with you. And you will feel like $1 billion, not a million, $1 billion in consciousness and within yourself, when you are living in your house and your car, no matter what it is in, whether it's a caravan park, or I don't care what it is, if you can keep everything as pristine as possible, even if you've got to get someone to come in and do it for you to start with, it will change your consciousness. It's such a great beginning. and listen to my affirmation music while you're doing it.
Great plug. I love it. I love it. I love it, Michele. Well, again, thank you for coming on. I'd love to have you back. Thank you for offering the free visual manifestation guides. Again, if you want to learn more about today's guest, micheleblood.com. That's Michele with one L, not two. You can also go to manifestationvideobook.com. We have the write-up on all of our social media pages, so make sure to click on that link. And I'd love for you, Michele, to book again in 2026. Come back. We'll do a video-based version of this. You can sing us an affirmation. Maybe you can make up one for Inspired Living. That we could actually give to the inspired listeners as their own affirmation. We could sing that live on video. But I just want to say,
I will write you your own jingle. It'll be my pleasure.
I love it. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for being you.
I'll do that for you.
Thank you so much. Lots of gratitude. And again, just a heartfelt thank you for coming on and sharing your journey with us, working through your pain. And again, just a pleasure to talk with you. And I hope to talk with you again soon. So inspired listeners, thank you so much. So inspired listeners, until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and most importantly, whatever's going on, wherever you're at in the world, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and I guarantee you, you will discover that diamond within. We'll see you next time here on Inspired Living. Take care, everybody.